think we are all living, pretty speedy life these days. And what I invite people to do, and I'll talk about the the thoughts and how to work with those in a moment. But what I invite people to do is have like a practice time. Usually I suggest once a week, like on a Saturday, for example, to set an intention in the morning to say, okay, today for the next 3 hours, I'm going to watch my thoughts and just be like hyper aware for 3 hours and watch your thoughts. Because during the day when you have a meeting and then you're going to lunch and then you're picking up the kids and then there's like a zillion things. It's really hard to notice your thoughts. So I just want to say that. So it'd be great to be able to do it daily. And if you have a meditation practice daily, then yes, that is ideal and that is really helpful. So compassion, self-compassion is definitely part of it. And like you said, speak to yourself like you would speak to a friend, like you would speak to a child, really. If a child were upset, you wouldn't be like, what's going on with you? Why are you acting this way? You would be like, oh my gosh, sweetie, what's happening? Tell me more. It's like the opposite of how sometimes people are speaking to themselves. And it's actually takes, so this is from the world of neuroscience and neuroplasticity. The brain gets into patterns and it takes actually a lot of work, repetition. The repetition is what changes the brain. And that's why you say a daily practice, which, yes, feeds the repetition. The brain gets stuck in patterns, and that's where these thoughts just keep looping. I'm not worthy, let's say, or I don't deserve love is something that got communicated somewhere down the road in the past. And the brain and the body just took that on. Let's say, I don't really deserve love. I'm not really a good enough person to be loved. Let's just say that's the thought. And unfortunately, the repetition of that thought gets it really stuck in the brain, and it creates actually a groove in the brain. And if you think about, I teach it in this way, if you think about a marble that's sitting on top of like a sort of sandy mountaintop, and there's a really deep groove, and then there's no groove on the other side, the marble's going to go down the really deep groove, right? It's easy. We know that that's what would happen. All we have to do is give it a little tap, and there it goes down the groove. And that's the repetition of thought that you're telling yourself. I'm not good enough. I'm not really worthy of love. And that'll just keep repeating itself. You can see if you want to create a new groove, a new thought, a loving thought about yourself, you actually have to work at it. You have to push it now a little bit further. You might have to push it down the first time to get the groove started. You have to keep going so that the groove gets established. And there's a lot of very specific tools in the world of neuroscience that have been proven that will actually create a new pattern in the brain so that you go from, I don't deserve love, I'm not good enough, to, wow, I'm an amazing person, I'm great just as I am, and I totally deserve love. Now, you can just practice, like you said, what would be a daily practice? You could actually, once you've identified one of your negative limiting beliefs, you could turn it to something that you would like to believe, and you could, in the mirror every day, tell yourself that belief. Now, the thing that's going to happen is that there are parts, I'm an internal family systems therapist along with a coach, but what happens is other parts will show up and be like, no, that's not true. What do you mean? Come on. They'll be like all these like sort of a chorus in the background. You might not hear them loudly, but they'll be there. So that is one of the limiting pieces of just doing what we would call mirror work or affirmations. There's a lot of talk about just do affirmations every day. Well, if you've got a part coming in every day going like, no, you're not really good enough, that's not true, then your affirmations aren't really going to be effective. It actually takes some really too complex for today's podcast, but some very specific tools that actually help rewire the brain. Some of it can be somatic work, tapping work. Some of it is very specific tools to actually, I'll just say, sort of flush the body with the feel-good hormones that you really want to be experiencing when you tell yourself like, yay, I'm an awesome person, because that feels good, right? And you get a flush of good hormones there. And that flush of good hormones actually helps rewire the brain. It's kind of interesting. I'm a little bit of a science person. So you got that science piece